Hello, everyone. Welcome to Grid Live Free Race. Joe Samaniego here, along with Isha's team from Racing with Isha. Very excited to have everyone tuning in today. Lots to talk about in motorsports. Big thank you to our Patreon subscribers, calling the show, Mark, Robin, David, and Matthew. And for our Patreon subscribers, they're going to be getting in the mail these Grid Network stickers. If you want to get a sticker as well, too, sign up for our Patreon or do a super chat. $5 or more, and you'll get a Grid Network sticker mailed to you. Very exciting times for us right here at the Grid Network. I encourage everyone participate in the chat room, subscribe, and hit the bell icon so you don't miss any of our programs. One of the big things, Isha, this MotoGP race weekend cannot miss because we had a dramatic sprint race and something crazy. Pecco's not leading the points.
Yes, Joe, that was certainly an exciting weekend for MotoGP so far. As you mentioned, we start with a new points leader. So Jorge Martin is the new points leader after winning the sprint race. For the first time in his career, he leads the standing for MotoGP. And the first points lead the year's change in MotoGP, and they occur with 5 race weekends left. So we have 9 sprint and 6 Grand Prix races remaining in this calendar year. So, Joe, coming into the Indonesian Grand Prix, do you think Martin is the favorite to win?
He has to be the favorite to win because the way he raced, oh my goodness, started sixth place. We know Pecco Bagnaia, 13th place, after failing to get into the second round of qualifying. He could have easily just taken his time, run up towards the front, and finish on the podium, top five, and still get the points lead, but it'd be a very small points lead. He pushed it. He delivered a great performance, great race, got to the lead, and took the win. This is essentially what a championship driver does, or in this case, in MotoGP, a championship rider. Just go out there, do everything you can, you step up your game to get the win. He passed the two VR46 Mooney Ducatis. What an effort by Jorge Martin. He is looking like a championship rider. This is not the Jorge Martin from 2 years ago or even last year where he was fast but kept falling off the bike, crashing out. He is driven, he is determined. And to see him again for the Grand Prix race, he's going to be starting sixth place. Pecco Bagnaia further behind. He has to be one of the favorites to win. I think he's going to be hard to beat. I think Pecco Bagnaia is in serious trouble with the championship and with the remaining sprint races, the remaining Grand Prix race weekends. This is looking like it could be a good opportunity for Jorge Martin to extend that lead because, as Joshua mentioned, if the two of them are close between Martin and Pecco Bagnaia, you know the factory team is going to really want to see the factory rider get the win. But if Jorge could put the distance, it's going to make it very hard for Ducati to make that call.
Now, Joe, Jorge Martin leads Pecco Bagnaia by only 7 points, so Pecco does have the option to respond to this. However, as you mentioned, he will be starting in 13th after a disastrous qualifying session. So he finished 8th to claim 1 point in the sprint race. But do you think the pressure has shifted against Pecco Bagnaia?
It has shifted against Pecco Bagnaia. The big thing in Q1, the first round qualifying, where the top few advance, Nea Bassanini, his teammate, who has missed several races this year, has had a lousy season, has so much expectations for a good season this year, outqualified him, started up front. That was a big blow because now is essentially your number two rider going ahead of the number one rider who's still battling for the championship. Bassanini, he is out of it. He just missed way too many races due to injury, not exactly having the great performances. That was a big blow to, I think, his confidence in the race. That opening lap, he only got up to 12th, one position gain. And he just slowly worked his way up to 8th. Compared to what Martin did, just going from 6th, great start, working his way to the front and pushing it. Flawless effort. I think Pecco Bagnaia, this is the Pecco Bagnaia we saw a couple of years ago when it was him versus Fabio Quartararo. Pecco could win, but then he crashes out. I think Pecco did a good job. He didn't crash out. He didn't push the limit to the point where he crashed out, got himself in a bigger hole. Granted, if it was one position lower, no points. So 7 points is really a good day where he could put out an effort, come home, bring home the points. Well, point, since it was just 1 point. But overall, I think the pressure has shifted. If Enea Bassanini was to finish ahead of Pecco Bagnaia tomorrow, I think this really is going to mess with Pecco's confidence with the remaining races.
Now, Joe, Ducati did sweep the podium today. However, Yamaha had a good Saturday, especially when you consider how tough this season has been for them. So, do you think Yamaha has a possibility of putting both of their riders to score points?
I do. I was really surprised with Yamaha's performance overall. I felt one of the big things was with Yamaha, Fabio Quartararo, pretty good qualifying effort. I was afraid he was going to just fall back. But this Indonesia circuit, it just sort of works towards that bike where he stayed up there towards the front. And then Franco Morbidelli, a solid day, but unfortunately he just did not get points. But if this was the Grand Prix, he would be getting the final point position. Now, when you look at the starting position, of course, they're going to be again up there in the points range. I could see them getting up there further up. Big thing we saw in the race, Mark Marquez, he crashed out. This was an opportunity for him. Honda, especially after the news that he's leaving Honda, I thought they were going to come here a little bit stronger. They're off to not exactly the greatest start. Yamaha, this could be a great opportunity to just have a better weekend than Honda for Fabio Quartararo. Be up there. If he could get a top five finish, that's going to be a huge day for him. He's going to feel like a win. And overall, the MotoGP season, I think it is heating up, and we still got some great racing here at Indonesia. Phillips Island for the Australian Grand Prix. That's going to be a race nobody can watch. Can miss. Must watch race. This is really heating up, and for a season where Pecco Bagnaia was just leading from the first race weekend, everyone on Pick a Winner just kept picking him over and over, and now it has shifted. This is just very exciting. It's going to be coming down to the last few rounds, potentially the last race of the year.
That's right, Joe. Now, I know that we're in for a pretty exciting race for MotoGP, but now I'll give it back to you for our grid ranking.
Yeah, the impact this had on the grid ranking this weekend, of course, the sprint race offers few points compared to the Grand Prix races, but since the sprint race was every round, there was a scoring change. Jorge Martin broke the tie, 14.77, so he solidly claims sixth place, and Francesco Bagnaia, Pecco Bagnaia, 14.58. Now, both riders are still mathematically eligible for the Grid Ranking World Championship. However, that is still Max Verstappen's championship to lose. If he could finish essentially two more race wins, he has it clinched. Now, Isha, Max has the United States Grand Prix in a couple weeks' time, and then the Mexico City Grand Prix. Red Bull have won at both of these tracks. Max Verstappen has success at these tracks, and it's safe to assume he's going to be the favorite entering both tracks. But this weekend, rumors are spreading about his teammate Sergio Perez that at Mexico, his home race, his home country, he might announce his retirement this weekend. There's also reports that in the next two race weekends, Red Bull will determine what is Sergio Perez's future. Are you surprised that Perez has gone from a sure 2024 seat in Red Bull to now potentially not returning?
Joe, I would say that I am slightly surprised. But I feel like when we take a look at his past few races, like the second half of the season, it's not surprising when you look at his performances. And I know that this is also something that we've talked a lot about in some of our past weekend shows as well. Um, but I think that, looking at the rumors that he might retire in Mexico, I think that that would be the more respectable way for him to leave Formula One instead of, being dropped by Red Bull, which I think that there's a very strong chance of that happening as well. So, I don't know if the rumors are true, but I think that looking at his situation right now and how the pressure has definitely gotten to him, I don't see him coming back from this in any way. So I think that, his best option might really be to just announce his retirement in Mexico and go in like the most respectful and best way possible for him. But, now with that, we will transition into our next segment for the show, which will be NASCAR. So, in the round of eight, half of the playoff field is left. Only four will get into the championship four. Now, Las Vegas Motor Speedway is the first race of the round. And the last time we were here, William Byron won, and he is the favorite to make the championship four. Now, Byron also won the Texas race, which helped him secure his spot in the round of eight. So, Joe, do you think Byron has the advantage over everyone else entering Las Vegas?
He does have the advantage because he's had 2 weeks to where he could focus on the set up for Las Vegas Motor Speedway, which he won. So he already has that advantage. And then really what he did at Talladega, at the Charlotte Roval, he still raced really well, really hard, great finishes. So he's put himself out there where I think he is the only driver that if he doesn't for some reason win a race, which I'm 99% sure he will win at least two or one race, for sure one race, potentially two. I'll get into that a little later, but I feel Byron, he could easily point his way into the championship for unless he just has three horrible races and is out, in which case everybody will be talking about a collapse in that 2014 if that happens. But Byron, no other team is looking as strong as he is right now. No other team has the number of wins and will reach that number of wins that he has right now, in my opinion. He is the favorite for the championship four. It will be a epic collapse if he does not get into the championship four. One we haven't seen really since maybe Kevin Harvick when he failed to get in, but we sort of saw a trend where he was starting to not perform. Byron's still performing strong, and I think that team has a lot of confidence. They have the leg up on everyone with that early win to prepare for Las Vegas. I think you're going to see a lot of teams starting next year. They're going to focus on that first race each round because if they could get the win, then they could focus on the first race of the following round and do that to get to the championship for it in what looks like an easier route. But as we know in the schedule, it's not going to be easy with Atlanta next year being the first race of the round of 16.
Yes, and Joe, now if we look at the top four drivers in the playoff standings, they have all won here before. However, it is Martin Truex Jr. who leads all the drivers out of the top four in the playoffs. So, can he rebound in the playoffs? And if not, do you think he's in trouble?
He is in trouble. I mean, one of the big things we have been following with Truex Jr. This playoff performance is just he hasn't shown up. He has not been scoring points that well. He has been running pretty lousy, to be honest. And even the Charlotte Roval, it seemed like okay, he's having a good day. At the end, didn't come through. Now, essentially, he is at a point where I think that team has to really start to think about coming here and put themselves in a must-win situation. If they don't get the win at Las Vegas Motor Speedway, I am not confident that they're going to have a good finish at Homestead, where, yes, he's won there before, but so has Denny Hamlin, so has Kyle Larson, William Byron. I mean, the list could go on and on. Tyler Reddick, really strong there as well, too. He has a lot of stiff competition, and I don't see him being a driver that could point his way in. He's proven the playoffs. William Byron, Denny Hamlin, they are scoring much more points than him. Kyle Larson, he got Homestead. He loves that track. He needs to get a win. If it doesn't happen this race weekend, I think Homestead's not going to be great. And then Martinsville, the beating and the banging there, oh man, that is just going to be something where I think he's just. If he gets in the final four without a win, I would be surprised. I would be shocked. Essentially, that means somebody like a Denny Hamlin or Kyle Larson had bad luck and did not overtake him.
Yes, Joe, that would certainly be surprising. And as you mentioned, a win by anyone in the playoffs here means that they are in. So the bottom four drivers win and they are in the championship four. Also, surprising stat Christopher Bell is the only driver in the bottom four with one win. Now, Blaney and Reddick both have two, and Busher has three. So, do any of the bottom four have the potential to advance to the championship four?
Yes, and this is what makes it really hard this year with the playoffs. Those bottom four drivers, these are not just four drivers that, okay, you anticipate they're just going to go down quietly in their championship season. Chris Buescher just needs a win. He has a good shot, I think, in Las Vegas. I think that'll be a great opportunity for him. You also have Martinsville. I think that could be a great opportunity for him, and especially, RFK Racing. They're going to put everything behind Chris Buescher to get a win at the short track if he's in a must-win situation there. Tyler Reddick, he is so good at Homestead. It's surprising that he has not won there yet. I think that 2311 team, they're going to be fast at Las Vegas Motor Speedway. If they have a good qualifying effort, they could be potentially on the pole. We know that team is fast at the mile and a half ovals. This is a great opportunity for him to get the win. Blaney, he has some potential at Las Vegas Motor Speedway. That will be the one track I think for Blaney. That'll be his strength. I'm not sure about him at Homestead and then Martinsville. I just don't have the confidence in that team. And it's surprising, as you mentioned, that Christopher Bell, the one driver with only one win. Considering what he did last year, so many people thought he would have multiple wins. That has not happened. It's just really shocking to me to see that Christopher Bell, compared to Chris Buescher with 3 wins, everybody else with 2 wins in the bottom four, he needs to, I think, have a win at some point. He could potentially point his way in, but he'll need Larson or Truex, which again, he hasn't performed, to just continue to not perform and get in through points.
Definitely, Joe. And before we continue, I believe we have a comment in the chat room. Now, Ashton says, "Are you guys going to watch the IMSA endurance race today? Just started." Joe, what are you going to do?
I'm definitely going to be catching up on it after we go off the air. And then, of course, Grid Life wrap up. Kobe and everyone will be here to talk about Petit Le Mans. And, of course, for Pick a Winner, I can't know more because I just missed the deadline. The race has started. But I was originally going to go with the number 10, but unfortunately, I didn't. So that's one race where maybe Kobe's going to, everyone will see the Pick a Winner standings when we get there. Yeah, I see Chris Buescher making the NASCAR championship forward. That'll be interesting. Like we said, it would not be a surprise.
That would certainly be interesting. And speaking of Chase Elliott, now in the Owners' Championship, Chase Elliott is still in it. Martin Truex Jr. is already out of the Owners' playoffs, and Chase is winless this year. So, Joe, do you think he can be a contender for the win?
I do see him being contender for the win. The big thing is that team, they did not get in the owner championship by luck. That team has been solid even without Chase Elliott all year long. Chase Elliott, he is going to, I think, be in the good position to get this race win at Homestead. That is a track I feel really good at. And then he has won at Phoenix, the championship 4 race. This will be the first time if he was to win not Homestead, I keep saying that, Phoenix. If he wins that race, it'll be the first time since we got into this playoff format that the championship driver did not win the race. It will be a person in the owner championship, but not in the championship for winning it. It could very much happen. I think that team, they're motivated. They do not want to go out winless this year. Just a unfortunate timing of the caution last weekend ruined his race, so that was a big blow to his luck. And then one of the big things, I just feel this race at Las Vegas, he could be up for the front. Homestead, easily up the front. Martinsville, he knows how to win there too. Hendricks is always good there. So easily, I think he's going to be a championship contender in Phoenix. And then one of the big things is I think overall we're going to see some great racing from Chase Elliott, that team. And I think it's just going to be something where it's going to be really interesting to see what happens with Chase Elliott. And one of the big things is pick a winner. We encourage everyone to comment with who you think is going to win the MotoGP, Indonesian Grand Prix, and NASCAR Cup Series at the race this weekend at Las Vegas Motor Speedway, 400 miles right there. Starting out, MotoGP, it's hard to deny what Jorge Martin's doing. I'm going to go with Marco Beschecchi. What an effort by Marco Beschecchi yesterday in the sprint race. He went out there, got a podium finish, considering the injury he had. I mean, we were talking about last weekend that he was done for the year with his injury, that he couldn't do this. He is back again. Marco Beschecchi is going to be my surprise pick a winner for MotoGP, the sprint endurance race, and now NASCAR Cup Series. Isha, we know NASCAR is going to be in Las Vegas Motor Speedway. We got the playoff drivers. We got Chase Elliott, who's not in the playoffs, in the owners' playoffs. Who do you think is going to be victorious at Las Vegas Motor Speedway?
Joe, for NASCAR, I'm going to go with the favorite coming into the weekend, and I'm going to say William Byron here.
William Byron, and I see Adam has essentially mirrored what you said too with William Byron and Jorge Martin. A lot of people jumping on the Jorge Martin bandwagon. Will be interesting to see what happens. For me, I'm going to go with Denny Hamlin. I think he's going to punch his ticket to the championship 4, get one Toyota in there. And amazing fact, considering there's 6 Toyotas in NASCAR, 4 of them are still in the playoffs. Bubba Wallace just got eliminated recently. Ty Gibbs, a rookie, missed out. Toyota has to feel pretty good. And I think they're going to be putting all their chips into Denny Hamlin Tyler Reddick. They want to see Martin Truex Jr. get in. That's going to be really hard. And Christopher Bell, he needs to step it up. And of course, we encourage everyone tomorrow, once the NASCAR race concludes, we'll be on the air approximately 90 minutes afterwards for Grid Live wrap up. So be sure to subscribe, hit the bell icon so you don't miss any of our programming. Because then on Monday, we have Grid Encore. We're going to recap all the other series that are outside of the grid ranking. Wednesday, Grid Tonight, the latest news, including the news that Marc Marquez is officially joining Gresini Racing. He will not be with Honda at all next year. Women in Motorsports Friday, our latest episode, we had Stephanie Moore join Isha and I for an interview. Encourage everyone to check that out. And then we do it all over again next weekend with Grid Live pre-race wrap-up. Big thank you to our Patreon subscribers. And once again, they'll be all getting these Grid Network stickers in the mail. You too could get them. Just sign up for our Patreon or $5 or more super chat. That'll help pay for the shipping, and you get 3 stickers per envelope. And of course, you could also do, along with the super chat, buy me a coffee, where you buy a cup of coffee for a particular member of the on-air team here at the Grid Network. Just be sure to mention in the comment who the cup of coffee or the super chat is going to. For Isha Azim from Racing with Isha, I'm Joe Samaniego. Thank you for watching Grid Live pre-race. We'll see you next time, and enjoy the races. Thank you for watching us right here on YouTube. Be sure to subscribe and check out some of our other videos, including Life on the Grid, where we interview folks from the motorsports industry. Thank you for watching. We'll see you next time.